Hey there, so glad you're here today. I'm in a bit of a ranting mood this morning, so this episode is going to give you some advice about picking your online course host and hopefully saving you hours and hours of headaches around it. So let's get to it.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here's your host, Julie Hood.
Oh my goodness, so this is going to be an episode, gang. We just had major rain and flooding overnight, and it rained so hard I did not sleep well at all. So this morning you might just get a little bit of a rant from me in how you should pick your online course hosting, because I see a lot of mistakes that happen when folks are getting started and they're trying to figure out where's the best place to put my online course. And I don't believe in one size fits all kind of solutions. It depends on where you're at with your business. So we'll get into that a little bit today. But I also want to help you avoid some of those problems that I see people getting into, where then it causes them a lot of headaches or a lot of frustration or a lot of wasted time. So the reason this is coming up today is one of my favorite tools is having an incredible special starting at the beginning of August of 2022. You can get in for 3 months for only $99. And to help make it work, I'm doing a really inexpensive set of training for August and September to really help folks who are interested in getting started with Kajabi. I'm going to hold your hand every week and keep you moving forward. So if that's something you're interested in, go over to coursecreatorshq.com/Kajabi Kickstart to get the rest of the information. And make sure you use that coupon code Kickstart because it's going to save you 90%. I'm testing this out. We'll see how it goes. It's one of those first time I offer it, probably the best price you'll ever see. If it works well, I may do it again. If not, you won't see this special training or special offer again. So coursecreatorshq.com/Kajabi Kickstart. All right, so let's jump in. What are these big mistakes that I see people making around trying to figure out, like, which of these tools should I be using to host my online course? And the first mistake I see a lot of folks using is they ask their friends or maybe some of their colleagues, like, oh, what are you using and do you like it? And usually what happens is every person that's using a certain tool, unless they've had a really bad experience, they like what they are using and they will tell you, oh yeah, you got to use my tool because I love it. But the problem is they may not have experienced some of the other tools that are out there. So they can't really tell you how the one they're using compares with some of the other tools that are available. So you're kind of getting, okay, yes, they're happy, but you don't know what they're missing or what else is available. So just be careful when you ask people. Notice that you're probably going to get what they use, regardless of whether that's the best thing or not. Sometimes folks will tell you when they've had a really bad experience. So that's good. That can help you know what to avoid. But it may not necessarily tell you the best fit for what it is that you're doing. Okay, and the second big mistake that I see people doing and things that are happening is they don't consider the cost of hosting videos. And here's what I mean by this. So technically, you are not supposed to put YouTube videos behind a paywall. It's part of their terms of service. So you can't make people pay in order to watch videos on YouTube. So you shouldn't be using YouTube hosting for your courses. So you have to come up with some other place, if you're going to do video in your courses, some other place to put those videos. And it can get expensive as you grow. I had one of my clients that had to switch the tools that they were using because they were paying thousands of dollars a month. Because what happens is, usually with video hosting, there's two different costs. There's the cost of the size of the videos that you're uploading. So you're paying for the space, but then you're also paying for the bandwidth, which is how often those videos are watched and how much of the video is watched by your students. So initially it may not be too bad if you only have a few students when you get started, but when you get up to where you've got hundreds of students, like one of my clients does, and the way that they're watching video after video after video, that can really add up in a hurry. So I like it when you pick a tool that the video hosting and the space for the videos is all included and does not cost you extra. So kind of an unlimited sort of video hosting is a really good idea. So check that out when you're looking at the different tools. Find out, do they host the videos for you? If they do, can you have unlimited videos and unlimited bandwidth watching of your online course videos? If not, then make sure you factor that in when you're trying to figure out where you're going to host your course and which of the tools you're going to use to move forward. Okay, the next mistake that I see folks making is either being worried too much about or not enough about the student experience. So let me explain what I mean here. All of the typical tools have a certain layout that they use for the student experience. And so if you are unhappy with the way your course gets laid out and you want to do something different than that, some of the tools aren't super flexible there. You know, as far as your videos are going to go here and your text is going to go here, and this is how you're going to navigate through your courses. Some of the tools are more flexible than others, and if that is really, really important to you, that you want to have a certain experience for your students, just recognize you may have to use a different solution than someone else who's happy with the experience that it has. So just check it out, determine if that's important to you, and if it is, then you might even have to go over to something like WordPress, because that's where you have complete customization. The challenge with that is, yes, you can customize it however you want to, but that also means you have to customize it however you want to. So you're talking about a lot more time and effort put into making it look good than if you're just using a standard setup with one of the tools. So I hope that makes sense. Figure out where you are on that scale. And for me, I just want to make sure the student experience is really good. I don't want them to feel lost or not know where things are or not have it be logical or reasonable. I want the navigation to be obvious. So there's a concept called breadcrumbs. And what that means is every time you click through, the breadcrumbs at the top will tell you what you've clicked on, so you can click back through the links and kind of get back to where you were. Those kinds of things are important to me. So, I picked Kajabi for where I host my courses because I like the layout for my students. Can I go in and customize it and make every single lesson its own little unique thing? No, but I don't care. I've done that in the past. In fact, I did that initially because it used to be when people were creating online courses, you had to use something like WordPress. And trying to create a good experience for your students when you have just this blank screen of a site is really tough. And I did that for a lot of years, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want that part to just be taken care of for me. But you get to decide, it's your course business. What's important to you? Where do you want to spend your time as you're getting going? And so just think about that and how it should fit in when you're picking out your course host. Okay. Number 4 is one that I really want to explain. So hang with me here on this one. And that is looking for the cheapest option no matter what. And let me explain, because a lot of times I will see course creators getting started. They haven't made any cash yet. They are not recognizing that they need to do some investment to get going. And so their only criteria is what's the cheapest option out there. And I get that. I tell you guys, when I got started, we had gone from 2 corporate incomes down to 1. And I was in this DIY, I'm going to do it all myself, cheap, cheap, cheap mode. So I get that. And if that's the space you're in, just recognize that you might not necessarily be picking the best long-term choice. However, if you have a little bit more capital to play with and you can figure out, okay, how can I make this work so that I can get this expense covered pretty darn quickly? That should be the question you're asking yourself. Like, how can I make sure that this, whatever I'm investing in my tool, I can cover and get to the point where I've covered these expenses. So how many courses would I have to sell to cover these expenses? If it's $150 a month and I have 3 $50 courses a month, boom, I've covered that expense. So just be aware, if you're choosing based on price, not only are you making the best decision for you, but are you making the best long-term decision? So it always surprises me when, and this is me ranting a little bit, gang, when people are so concerned about the cost of starting a business. Because if you are going to go to a brick and mortar and set up your own brick and mortar store somewhere, you would recognize that, hey, I'm going to need some money to get going. I'm going to have to invest in the building, in the location, in getting everything set up on the inside. Like, I'm going to need some money to invest. And I think there has been in the online industry way too much of a focus on, hey, you can do this for nothing. And it bothers me because sometimes I think it creates more problems when you don't set yourself up to recognize, I'm going to invest a certain amount for a certain time period, and then I'm going to be good to go, and I can focus on making sure I'm covering all of my expenses. So I hope that makes sense on when you're picking things out. And to be fair, there's several tools, Teachable and Thinkific, I believe will both let you get started for free for your first course. So that might be a good fit for you. Go start with one of those. You can get started for free. You may not have all of the cool, fancy options, but get started, get some sales, and then once you're up and running, then you can upgrade and to get the rest of the bells and whistles that you may need. So if budget is really high on your list, that might be an option for you. There's also a second piece of this that I'm going to bring up because I want you to think about it. And that is, there are several tools out there that will be one-time only fees. So they set you up and they say, just pay once and you'll have access forever. And I will tell you, after being in tech for 20 years, that makes me really, really, really nervous. Because I know that the company is going to have ongoing costs. They're going to have to pay for their servers that they're using with you. They're going to have to pay for support. They're going to have to pay for any technology and improvements they make. And I want to know, if they are only getting one-time payments, how are they going to cover that in the long term? Because if they can't, then the company goes under and you've put all this time into setting up your online course business with them, and suddenly they go under. And I had a friend of mine that happened to a few months ago, and she had picked a brand new tool. They were just getting started and it didn't work and they fell apart and she had to move. And so I want you to pick one of the tools that you feel comfortable with that's going to be around for the long term, that has a plan in order to cover their expenses and to keep everything running long term. Just a little kind of warning that makes me nervous. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope those one-time tools figure out and know something that I don't know, that they can live forever and cover all their costs. It just makes me a little bit nervous. Okay. So number 5 is not checking out the support before you pick your tool. So let's do a little scenario here, and you've chosen your online course hosting tool. You're getting ready to do this big launch. You've got lots of partners who are helping you, and boom, your site and your sales page goes down. What kind of support can you get, and how quickly can you get it? That is the question you should ask and know the answer to before you jump in with some tool. Make sure you check out their support. You see how quickly they respond. Because if it's going to take them 2 days to get back to you and you only can contact them by email, that could be a big issue and could totally tank your launch. So just check out. Hopefully they've got really good support. Hopefully they've got really good, helpful support area with lots of lessons and videos and that tell you how to do things so that you can figure it out on your own. Hopefully they've got some kind of hours where you can connect and talk to someone, at least website hours if they don't have phone support. So hopefully that's one of those things that you just check out, you're happy with, check off the box and keep going. They've got good support. Number 6 is not considering the cost and actually the loss of trying to integrate different tools and sort of the tech issues behind this. So, and let me tell you a couple stories to help explain what I'm talking about here. So, because I started years and years ago, I have built up this stack of tech tools that I'm trying to get to always work together. And the challenge is I spend a lot of time and time that could be spent in other places making them all sync up and trying to keep everything coordinated and connected. So I should just bite the bullet and move everything into one tool and just use that one tool. My life would be a whole lot less stressful of trying to keep everything in sync. However, for me, that would be a big undertaking and it would mean unraveling a lot of the things that I've already set up. So I haven't done that yet. But if you are also thinking about having multiple tools that you have to keep in sync, so let me just give you an example here. Say you have one tool that handles your shopping cart. You have one tool that hosts your course. You have one tool for your email newsletter. Maybe you have a different tool if you get to the point where you need an affiliate program. You've got that somewhere else. Like trying to make this all work together and keep track of the results that you're getting across all of these tools. It's an investment of time and attention that you can't avoid. So just want to make sure you knew about that. That's the integration cost that's kind of hidden for people. The second part of this is, I got to be honest, if you are thinking about using WordPress for your course, please go listen to the episode I will link to in the show notes where I talk about why I bailed on WordPress for my next website. So I've been using WordPress since 2005. And when it came out, it was a miracle for people who could create websites now. That it was amazing and wonderful and terrific. But through the years, it has gotten to be really challenging to make it work and stay working. So let me give you a story. One of my clients was in the middle of a big launch, and all of a sudden they started getting support comments saying, "You've been hacked." And what had happened is that their WordPress website got hacked when people were going on their mobile phone to their sales page, which was on a WordPress site. It was going to a porn site instead. And so this obviously was a big problem, big headache. Took many thousands of dollars and time to get it fixed and get the hack cleaned up. But because WordPress is so widely used, this happens more often than you would think. And then the second piece of WordPress websites that people don't tell you when they tell you to go set one up is there is a lot of underlying software that all has to be kept upgraded. So make sure if you're going to do that, use managed WordPress hosting so that they can keep all of the PHP and the MySQL and the Linux, keep all that software upgraded for you and you don't have to mess with it. So just want you to know there are some things to consider when you're using WordPress for your website. So I want you to have the full picture when you're making this decision about where am I going to host my course. Like, make sure you don't get any gotchas or, ooh, I didn't know about that. So that's number 6, considering the cost of whatever tool you're using as far as integrating in the background tech. And then number 7 is a big one in that I want you to look at the full picture of what it is that you are doing and how it all comes together for you. Because sometimes we just get focused on a specific thing that we are doing. So just make sure that you look at the big picture of where your course business is heading, how many students you're planning to have, what kind of tools you're going to need in the long term. Like, are you going to need an affiliate program? Well, you want that to be built into wherever you're doing your sales and your sales pages, because otherwise it's a whole nother nightmare of making sure it tracks for you. So have those 2 tools be built in together, those kinds of things. So I hope this has helped you at least think about some of the issues. And I didn't mean for this episode to be scary or to make you worry. So please connect with me if you've got kind of I don't know about this, because I try to look at these tools from the big picture for all of my students. And so I can pretty quickly identify like, ooh, this one's good, or hey, this is something you want to know about before you get started. And did you think about this? So I hope this helped you kind of hit some of those important decisions when you're picking where to host your course. And be sure to check out the Kajabi Kickstart with me that's going to be starting next week, August the 3rd, 2022. I'm excited about helping y'all get all this tech stuff figured out and get set up. So I hope you can come join us. It's in the show notes at coursecreatorshq.com/105. And thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you listening. Have a great week, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.